What up guys, Supermetal983 here bringing us another CD review, and this is another 2017 release that I really urge you to check out. If you like your riffs, hard and heavy, then this is definitely for you. This album just makes you want to headbang. Bit of a spoiler alert, it's fucking awesome. So yeah, this is what I'm going to be reviewing for you today. Yeah, this is the 2017 album from the band Malevolence, entitled Supremacy. This is released under Beatdown Hardware Records. Now, if you're from the UK, you probably have heard of Malevolence, or one of the main game changers in beatdown and hardcore and deathcore, for an extent. They're one of the big bands in that genre, especially from the UK. You've got the likes of Desolated and Malevolence leading the charge in the world of beatdown in the UK. But yeah. The band's released a couple of releases so far. They've released their debut EP a couple of years, well, quite a few years back, called Condemned to Misery. Now, in all honesty, I never listened to that, so I've got no real comment on it. But I did check out their debut album, which is called Rain and Suffering. And I remember when I first heard that, I heard it was beatdown, I heard it was hardcore. Now, at the time, I wasn't really massively into that whole style. But when I listened to it and checked it out, it wasn't anything that I'd heard before in beatdown. There wasn't any ridiculously slow, like chugs or anything like that. There wasn't anything too like you know, the beatdown sound about it. I was like, this sounds like completely different than I was expecting. It had elements of, well, obviously hardcore. It still had the elements of beatdown, but it had a lot of death metal influences I felt there. There's quite a bit of a sludgy vibe, especially coming from the vocals, especially, and obviously maybe a bit of metalcore-esque in there for good measure. Like all this blended into one to become Rain and Suffering by Malevolence. And as soon as I first heard that album, I was like, that is an absolute mammoth of an album. That is something that I felt had such a new kind of reinventing the wheel kind of sound. It wasn't anything that I felt I'd heard before. It was very hard for us to pinpoint a genre to them, and I know sometimes genres are stupid, the people say, but I believe it's relevant anyway. But anyway, like, I felt like it crossed so many boundaries, from the beatdown to the hardcore to the thrash to the death metal to even the metalcore-esque to it. I think it all crossed so many boundaries and came into this one cohesive unit, and I felt like there was a lot to be liked about that album. Now, I can't say that I own the album. I do need to pick it up at some point, so if that happens, it happens, so moving on. But it's been quite a while since that album came out, and everyone has been expecting a new Malevolence album soon. It's been in the pipeline for quite a few years now, and it was kind of the same sort of thing when Desolated were doing their album as well. There was quite a hype built up around it, and still loads of teasing about it. And then when it finally dropped, it was there, punching you in the face, and just devastating, and was just like a non-stop freight train coming at you, punching you in the face, crowd killing you, and all that shit. But Malevolence have finally unleashed their second album, or as the term goes, sophomore album, called Supremacy, and it's being released under Beatdown Hardware Records. Now, I was expecting quite a lot from this album. I wanted, if it was from my perspective, I wanted to take what they had and just take it a step sort of back and make it not as extreme, but give it a bit more of a riff fest, and kind of give it that likability and that album that just makes you smile and just get into it and just love every minute and every second of it. And you know what? That is exactly what Malevolence have fucking done, and it is fucking ball-crushingly good. Like, this album has blown me away since I heard it. On release day, I listened to it, and I was literally in awe just listening to this album. Just the riffs, the drum work, the vocals, just all of it coming together and just sounding like the last album, the only thing that I felt gave it a bit not that love factor for me. It was an album that I really liked but couldn't love. Was the production. I felt it was a bit too bright production. It didn't pack that much of a pump or a fist, you know what I mean, like a punch in the face, that kind of. Yes, it was heavy and stuff, but it just was. I felt like the production was a bit too bright on that album, like for my taste anyway. But I wanted that to be ironed out straight away, and it's come in this album. And this album's production is beefier. It's got so much meat in the riffs. The riffs are unbelievable. There's not a lot of, in my opinion, faster, like as much death metal-esque in this album. I don't feel that as much, but there is still a lot of hardcore in there. There's a lot of sludgy, slower kind of songs. I mean, the songs, I think it's Spineless and, oh, what's it called? True Colours, I think it's that one. Both those songs, the sludgy, just dreary, just almighty sound of those tracks just make you just go, wow, what, this is incredible. Like, but don't get us wrong, there is still, like as I said, there's the hardcore vibes, there's the sludgy vibes, there's still the death metal vibes. There's a couple of fast parts on here where the blast beats are tight as fuck, and I absolutely love that. But it just feels like it's a lot more centered around the riffs and packing that big punch with this almighty, chunky, crunchy guitar tone that's just like so beautiful. Like it's not something you could really describe. A Malevolence album is beautiful, but the tone on this album is so goddamn good. But like as I said, I feel like it's took a step back but picked up the meat what I wanted it to. From, if you're comparing Reign of Suffering to Self Supremacy, I think this album just makes you just love it more and just make you just feel like, yeah, that's just right there. That just hits the spot right there. I mean, I've been talking to my mates non-stop about this album, like people who've never gave Malevolence a chance. I'm like, mate, fucking check out this, and I've been sending them song after song, and they're all like, that's fucking meat there. But yeah, drum work, as I said, very, very tight. It's a lot of tightness and a lot of pop in every single part of that kit. It sounds punchy, it sounds pummeling, it just sounds almighty sound in those drum tracks. And like I said, blast beats are very, very tight. Like obviously they were tight on the last album, but this, like, they're not as potent, the blast beats on this album. Like, they're not over the top or anything like that. They just fit just right. It seems like those, like, I think it's been like 4 years or something like that since the release of Reign and Suffering. Might be longer than that, I don't know. But anyway, but it seems like they've really took that time and took the patience of the time that they've got and really crafted something really unique and something amazing, in my opinion, in that time. From, you can tell it with the musicianship, and the bass just umps up that guitar tone. Very, very heavy sound, very rumbly, gut-wrenching tone, and then on top of that with a more crunchy but still a bit more beef and low end to that guitar tone, and it's really amped it up so much to give it this massive sound that is just blown me away with how good it is. It just sounds so good. You can hear every note, you can hear every alternative pick, and when it goes into the like higher register, it doesn't lose any of that clarity. There's a lot of clarity in the higher bits. I think the guitar, like the way the riffs are played, like obviously there's the beatdowns, there's the thrash, there's the hardcore, but there's a bit of a, what I also feel is there's a bit of kind of like a southern rock kind of vibe thrown in there for good measure, if you ask me. And topping that off with the tone just adds to it. Like there's one section of one song, I can't remember what song it is, where it's just full on meat, and then it goes into that kind of like sludgy southern rock kind of riff at the end of the end of the riff, and it just sounds like it just fits so perfectly. It's absolutely unbelievable, if you ask me. Anyway, vocal work is where I think, like, obviously the musicianship, I think that's where it's a par. Like, I think that's where it's the right factor, the perfect factor behind this album. But where I think it also comes in hand is the vocals. I feel like the vocals are just sounding also sweeter, so much more well executed, and it just sounds more almighty sounding huge. It just sounds almighty and huge. It's the only way you can describe the vocals. From the main frontman, I can't remember his name, but I think it's Alex. I could be wrong on that. But his vocals are just so much more. I feel like there's a bit more aggression, a lot more emotion in those vocals. I feel like there's a lot more prowess in those vocals, and a bit more commandingness in it, and it feels more aggressive, it feels more angry, and it really feels it with the music. If that vocal performance wasn't there, then it would make the guitar sound like shit. But those two parts just locked in so perfectly. The aggressive guitar tone mixed with the aggressive vocals, it just sounds extremely good. Like, honestly, I love his vocal style. I think it's really well executed. It's low, it's punchy, it's aggressive, it's in your face. That's what you need from a Malevolence album and a Beatdown album, and well, just even a hardcore album in general. You need those vocals to be in your face, just like telling you to basically just fuck off, really. You know what I mean? It's meant to just take no shit, and that's what I feel with the vocals from Alex in particular. But yeah, I can't remember what his name is, and it doesn't say here. But the guitarist who does the kind of like, I think his name's Kirk from, or Kurt, I can't remember which it is, I can't remember off the top of my head. But from Crowbar, the vocalist Crowbar, you can tell there's a lot of influence in there from the riffs as well. Like, there's a lot of Crowbar influence in that, and I think it really, really works out well, in my opinion. It gives it that kind of new factor, that kind of reinventing the wheel kind of thing, as I said before. This crossing of like the sludgy hardcore with the beatdown kind of stuff, and then topping it off with some real death metal influence. Kind of like what Xibalba do, but more brushed up and more clean, whereas Xibalba obviously sounds a bit more nasty sounding and just rawness. But this one just sounds cleaner and just more pummeling, if you ask me. But that's what I've always liked. But the vocals are definitely influenced by thingy from Crowbar. Like this sounds so perfect, and with the delay and the reverb that's put on top of those vocals just makes it sound massive, just almighty and massive sounding. And so it sounds like God is like reaching over you, if he fucking existed. Anyway, but like he's like looking, it feels like it's like those vocals are over the top of you, talking down to you, just telling you what to fucking do, and giving it a bit more majesty and a bit more grit to it. There's a lot of grit in those vocals from both sides, I might as well say, from the harshest things to the like kind of Crowbar-esque vocals. It really amps up so much, and that on top of the musicianship just adds so much shit to it, and it just adds so much likability and just enjoyment factor. Like, this album just gives me so much enjoyment listening to. I've listened to this album literally about 10-12 times now, and every time I hear it, every time I show someone it, I always listen to it and I just think, wow, that is an album to be proud of. And I have to say, though, this album is currently sat at number 2 in my top albums, just behind Repulsive Vision, right? Now, I have to say, I wouldn't be surprised in any way, shape or form, and either way, both albums are fucking mint, if these two got locked in, either Malevolence overtook Repulsive Vision, or they both got Album of the Year. That's how much I absolutely love this album. This is absolutely incredible. This was the comeback kind of album, in my opinion. It's been so long in the making, and for all I loved, really liked, Reign of Suffering, or Reign of Suffering, this has just blew that album out of the water. And to be honest, it's blew most of what 2017 has offered. 2017 has offered so many great albums, but this is just annihilating so much, and you just need to hear it to know what I'm talking about. I'll leave some links in the description of where you can check it out on. I believe it's on Beatdown Hardware's Bandcamp. I could be wrong, but even if it is, I'll link it down below. I'll also leave some links to some of my favourite tracks on here, like, oh god, there's so many good tracks on here. Supremacy, Severed Ties, Waste of Breath, Slave to Satisfaction. That is definitely my favourite song on this album. I absolutely love that track. It's just slow, gritty. That's one of the songs I was trying to think of. It's just slow, gritty, just dark sounding, very dark sounding. Spineless, True Colours, Outnumbered. Yep, just every track on this album is absolutely fucking killer. And when I saw these live on the album tour with No Zodiac and Revulsion, check out those bands. I'll leave some links down below. Yeah, check out this album, and they put on an absolute fucking masterpiece of a show. By the time this goes up, the tour will probably be over in the UK, but sorry about that. But if you ever get a chance to see Malevolence tear it up in your town, or you're willing to travel to go and see them, do it. Because this album, they performed a lot of tracks from it, and it just sounded so goddamn good. It sounded exactly like it did on the album, and it just sounds even better live, if you ask me. And there's a lot of times where bands, obviously, as you know, they're really good on record, but they're not so good live. But Malevolence isn't one of those bands. This is absolutely fucking awesome, and I can't wait to see Malevolence again whenever they come back to the Northeast, which I sure as hell hope they do. But yeah, make sure you check out this album. This is fucking sick. And you can guess it, all you want. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. This is absolutely fantastic. I think it's incredible. Make sure you check out the tracks that I said. But I'll leave like 3 or 4 in the description of where you can check it out. I'll also leave a link to the Bandcamp of Beatdown Hardware, where you'll probably be able to check it out. I'm sure it's on there. But yeah, I'll leave also links to No Zodiac and Revulsion. Check out those bands as well. But yeah, make sure you pick up this album. I'll leave some links also down below of where you can pick it up. But yeah, make sure you check out the new Malevolence, Supremacy, released under Beatdown Hardware Records. And I'll see you until the next video. And remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.